Presentation, please. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. So we've come a long way. 20 years ago, we are talking about apps now. 20 years ago, this is how eBay, one of the most top-notch sites in the world, looked. I mean, it's quite laughable when you think about it right now, but given the internet speeds back then, given the technologies, this was the top-notch kind of web experience you could get. Anyway, it was enough for them because the good advantage was you were dealing with early adopters. So these guys were making the effort to actually come to your site and to actually work their way through it. They were okay learning and adapting to you. Fast forward to right now, we have a much more optimized app, much more fancy, much more interesting look on the web, and of course on the app of eBay. But there is one thing that both have in common still, now 20 years after, and is that both of them are static. Both of these sites, the one in 1996 and 2016, like this one, both for the app and for the web, are built for the average user. So both of them are, let's say, a canvas in which 99% of what you see is what everybody else is seeing as well. You have banners, let's say you have the deals of the day, etc. And all this is basically what you use to cater to your average user, to increase all the vanity metrics like conversion, etc. Because you can't target different types of users from one static homepage. Now, I'm here to make the case of why doing this is essential, especially now that we are well entering Web 3.0 times. When you look at the distribution of e-commerce users, what we are seeing from most of our customers is that 5% of the users generate 50% of the revenue and more than 50% of the profit. They actually buy better high-margin stuff. So it's completely essential to start focusing more and more on individual customer types and less on the average user, which might not be that valuable after all, and just gives you metrics such as traffic, engagement, etc., that will not bring profit in the short or maybe even long term. So an example of one of our customers, a top retailer, is that only the top 2% of users have actual value. 98% of users, they might transact, but their customer acquisition cost is higher than their lifetime value, which means that they spend more money attracting the user than the profit that the user is going to bring in their lifetime. So this is why it's completely essential to cater to those users that actually can bring profit to the company, and to be able to cater to that 98% in a smarter way, to be able to offer them at the homepage and at the whole site, both on the apps, web and mobile web, a completely unique and personalized experience based on what we know about them. For example, and this is something that you see in all kinds of apps, if I go to any kind of brand app, I go through men's products. I add one product to the cart. In the case of Nordstrom, when I go back to the homepage next time, I still see the product, but the experience is completely not adjusted to me. I still see completely women-focused banners. I still see an experience that will not make me convert. The only way I'll buy something is if I actually see something from, let's say, outside the app, I make a search and I land directly on the product or on the men's category. I will not convert based on this. So why are we still doing this? Why are we still spending so much money on attracting the traffic, but not in actually having it converted through a dynamic website? In my previous years, I worked with the Rocket Internet Group in many of its ventures. I worked in Garena, building Shopee, its current mobile app platform from the very start. And I worked with many other partners that basically all have the same problems. So usually the way it goes is you always have limited resources and you have short-term KPIs that you need to achieve. So what you do is you get a lot of small tools, separate ones on the site or on the apps, that do analytics for you, do recommendations for you, etc., but keep your user data in separate silos. So when you have the user data in separate silos, you don't have a unique view of your customer, and you can personalize for the customer. So it's not a problem of being able to do it, it's a first problem of knowing who to target and how. The second one, of course, and especially big on mobile, is that even though mobile is growing a lot, so even you heard the two previous presentations, how mobile is essential nowadays, you have a very, very short attention span, and the high acquisition costs are massive, especially with Amazon entering the subcontinent and with the Rocket company still pushing and Alibaba pumping more money into Lazada. This is only going to get worse. So acquisition is no longer something that is sustainable. These are stats for whole APAC, but it basically says that from every $92 USD that we spend acquiring a user, only $1 is spent on actual, let's say, conversion. So on improving our website, the content management system. So making the website something dynamic that will show something relevant to this user who we spend so much money attracting. So this is basically the challenge that we are aiming to solve. Next. At Dynamic Yield. So Dynamic Yield is a platform that unifies all the data from retailers, from marketeers, from publishers into one unique base, one DMP, and allows them to immediately build personalized experiences all across the sites and the apps. What it would allow me is if somebody adds a cart, if I am Nordstrom and somebody adds a product to the cart that is a men's product, and they were browsing the men's category before, when they arrive, they will see a completely personalized experience. They will receive personalized push notifications. And most interestingly, when they go to the website, it will completely reflect what they did on the app itself, both on price point, both of everything that they know about me. So we are a New York-based company, and we are entering APAC. I opened the APAC office 3 months ago. So we just recently got a funding round from Baidu, the search giant from China, and also from Vertex and Bessemer partners. And we already count on most of the largest e-commerce brands in Europe and in the US as customers, already making their site dynamic. But it's important to understand these are the 1%. These are the ones who are basically at the forefront of technology. But at this point, there is many brands spending all this money on acquisition who are not focusing on actually bringing the users to a relevant experience. So what is that we do in short? So imagine that you are Under Armour. You probably know the brand, one of our customers. So whenever you arrive to the Under Armour site, even if you've never been to the site of Under Armour before, what we basically can enable you, we can enable the site to identify you as a man with interest in gym based on our third-party data providers. So Under Armour is usually a man or mostly a women kind of site. So they have more women customers than male customers. So if they only had one website, they would always make it with women on the banners. Now, what they can do with Dynamic Yield is they can define for anyone whose interest before was on gym and were men, they can show a completely individualized experience or even change the layout of the page completely for this type of users. And they can go much more granular than this. They can say, for example, let's say if it's a man with gym interest and it's raining exactly for the next 2 days, I want to show them a different banner, one with a window where it's raining and I'm working out inside. This is something that they can do in a dynamic way and without using any tech resources. Another one that is basic is basically we are able to completely change the way that categories, let's say, look based on price sensitivity. These top 5% of users probably want to see something based on relevance or even high prices. But most of the users want to see low to high price. So depending on the user affinity, we are able to change this dynamically, as well as showing the right banner on top for each one of the right partner. For example, in this case, when you go to many pages like Zalora, what you will see many times is banners with discounts. You'll see a lot of discounts. Now, why do they do this? Because they need the overall traffic numbers. But if you are a very high valuable customer who looks for latest brands, that's not the best banner for you. The best banner for you is new arrivals, or a banner based on the brands that you like, or a banner based on any kind of context or city where you're in, where there is a new offer right now. The same with the order of the products. I want to see the products with the brands that I like on top. So I want to personalize the whole product grid, something that can be easily done with Dynamic Yield. And of course, for every kind of action that is taken, the system selects the best performing variation. So Under Armour, Sephora, all of our customers, when they upload one campaign, they don't just upload one banner or one experience or one layout. They upload 5, 10 variations. And then the machine automatically selects and drives traffic to the one that performs best. Now, this is something that is essential nowadays when so many websites are still not even doing basic A/B tests. the capacity to personalize to certain users, but to optimize and run A/B tests on top of the personalization. This is what brings quality content and much more converting content to the user nowadays. And this is much more important when you are in the app world. Let's say, like in the eBay example before, if you have a website that shows all the options, it's a little crowded, but it's doable. This is not doable on mobile. On mobile, you have, let's say, an 8-second attention span on the app max, and you have very, very little pixel real estate that you can play with. So showing the right thing is completely essential. Showing something that sparks interest. That's why many of the apps nowadays, which are static, show deal of the day. Because deal of the day is something that gives us some kind of a kick. So we see it and we say, look, there could be an advantage here. So it's something that engages you a little more. But it's, again, something catered for the low-end user that in general will have no value for you. Everything that is on dynamic yield, any kind of overlay notification is personalized and is automatically tested. And only the variation that provides the highest yield is the one that is selected and automatically chosen by the system without the retailer or the marketeer doing anything. The only thing the marketeer does, it thinks of the logic, divides and chooses the users, and uploads the variations. Because that's the smart part. Optimization is something that algorithms can do much better and much faster than humans right now. So what we basically do is we tie all that data and we enable, let's say, this increase of user value at scale. So instead of just spending all the money on acquisition, we basically allow our customers to take half of that money away in acquisition and to focus on conversion. And the overall result is always much, much better, especially when the customer has a brand that doesn't allow them to run discounts all the time or run deals all the day or this kind of low value adding initiatives. So some examples to just quickly finish is you might know La Moda is the bigger sister of Zalora, that it's in Europe. So La Moda, the first year they used us just by personalizing their site to different users. Just by personalizing their site to different users, separating men and women, separating new users who never came to the site before or to their app before. And those users who check their app every week, just by showing them different things, just by showing them things based on their app affinity, which is something that we can very easily do, they increase 15 million, let's say they increase their profit by 15 million gross. I'm not speaking revenue, I'm speaking pure profit. And not only this, it's a very short-term kind of view to look at the profit or the revenue. What you're also doing is you're engaging your customers. You're showing them something that will delight them more. That's showing them a basically static, bland experience. This kind of system, this is something that in 3 to 5 years, we will think of and we will say, why, it was so obvious. I mean, why would we show the same page to everyone? We will think this was like completely crazy, right? Now, this is starting to become a norm in the US, a little bit more in Europe. Southeast Asia is a little bit lagging behind. But we intend to bring it up to speed as soon as possible. So, like we say, the future is already here, but it's not evenly distributed. So if you want to know something more or you have any questions, shoot away.
Thank you,
sure.
Ander. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, that really is an eye-opener, you know, personalizing, you know, for different individuals. That's interesting because like when you open Under Armour, I'll be looking at different page than what you're looking at, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And we're going to the same website and we're looking at totally different things.
If you had a different device, you enter from another area. So not only the country, if you enter from a different city, you have a different mobile device, you click on an item that is, I don't know, cheaper or more expensive than mine, you will start seeing more and more differences to mine.
Yeah.
And it's something that you will not notice until somebody else tells you, this is how I see it.
Exactly. So thanks for making us realize it. I didn't realize it for the longest time, you know. So that's the importance of personalizing your service to all the different individual shoppers. So thank you so much. Any question from the floor for Ander? Please raise your hands. Any question? No, not yet. You can always reach out to Ander on his email.